chit chat, and I'm just gonna let some people know that I'm live before I get started. As usual. This. I'll be starting up shortly. Soon. Somebody else I'm missing some. All right. Oops. All right, just added some people to the live. We'll give them a couple of minutes to join, but as usual, we have to play this soca song to open this session. Hey. Kitty B, just for you, baby. Give it to me, that workout. Give it to me, that love. Give it to me, that love. For those of you who are now joining, welcome to Perimenopause Chit Chat. This evening we'll be talking about the musculoskeletal syndrome of perimenopause, and soon we will go into it. Gym body. Your gym body, original, can photocopy you. You sending me loca, you giving me pressure. Lo. All right, enough of working out. Let us get this started. All right, so again, because some people are coming in, so officially starting this is the Perimenopause Chit Chat, where on Fridays or any other day, I will be talking about things related to perimenopause, how they affect you, and some of the things that you can do to alleviate or to totally avoid having some of these symptoms. This is not meant to diagnose anybody, so whatever I say on this live, please do not take it for gospel. But yes, I am qualified and I know what I'm talking about, but there are certain things that I will not be talking about because it is beyond my scope of practice, and that is things like hormone replacement therapy. That is outside of me, so I will not be talking about that. I might just say things that it could help, but whatever you do, make sure that you talk to your doctor when it is that you're looking to do a medical approach to dealing with perimenopause. But most of these things can be addressed with a lifestyle changes. Some of the things you already know, but it's just that you were not doing it. All right, so what is the musculoskeletal syndrome of perimenopause? So that is a term that is used to group a range of symptoms, same way like how I spoke about genitourinary syndrome, which was a group of symptoms. This word musculoskeletal syndrome is used to describe a group of symptoms. So some of these things look like frozen shoulder. So frozen shoulder can be presenting as you might be trying to raise your hand and this hand just is not raising. You are in a lot of pain. You might not be able to take your hand behind your back like you used to, and for some reason you just have this pain, you did not bump your hand, you did not do any strenuous exercises that will explain why this hand shoulder just ain't moving. And I will tell you the reason why. The other thing about musculoskeletal syndrome is related to osteopenia, which can develop into osteoporosis, and this is related to simply loss of bone density. We have to remember that a lot of our bone is put down or laid down in our early years. So if we were doing things that were not helping that, then the bone density is not going to be that good, but there are still things that you can do to help yourself, right? Then there is also sarcopenia, which is a fancy word for loss of muscle mass. And that is a thing that I'm going to be talking about a lot. Why it is important for you to have muscle mass, especially now that you're going through this transition. And I will talk about that shortly. And also you will have different things, as I said, in terms of inflammation. There's also arthritic. This word does get me all the time. Let me look. Well, skip it. I will spell it for you. ARTHRALGIA, a family of fibromyalgia. For some reason, my tongue ain't working tonight to call this word, but that is related to overall pain over your body, your joints, things like that. You don't know why these things are showing up. So sometimes you might think it is as simple as going and getting some Benji's balsam, which we know about doing, and rubbing down. It might help a little bit, but it might not always help. So the reason why you are getting some of these symptoms, and this is something that people don't really talk about. Yes, it is associated with aging. Things will change, but during this perimenopause phase, it seems as though it accelerates it. And the reason why it's accelerated is because we are losing that wonderful hormone, estrogen. If you're tired of hearing this, if you don't know, estrogen is one of the hormones. We have receptors all over our bodies, like head, shoulders, knees, and toes, breasts, the usual ovaries, uterus, all over our bodies, brain. When I said head, brain, we have those receptors. So when we start to lose estrogen, and estrogen does not gently decline like progesterone. Estrogen is like you're going up in the hills and then you're dropping in the gully, then you're coming back from flat, then you're dropping again. It goes all over the place. So because of that dropping, their body is going to respond in a way that is like, what's really going on? Our body cannot acclimatize to this change because it's all over the place. And estrogen helps with a lot of things. Estrogen helps us with building muscle mass. So that is why if you are still having a regular period and regular menstrual cycle, meaning you're bleeding every 28 to 35 days, the first few days, your follicular phase, after your period finished, because some people like me, I can't exercise when my period on, or else I will flatline and it will be a lot of pain. But when your estrogen is starting to build back up, that is the time that you are most likely to build most of your muscle mass, because estrogen helps with that. Estrogen also helps with insulin sensitivity. So if it is that you're losing the estrogen, that means your insulin sensitivity is going to reduce. And when that reduces, that means that you cannot get nutrients going into your cells like your muscles, which is needed to keep some of the weight off, to help with your metabolism and a lot of other functions. Estrogen also helps with a lot of inflammation in the body. So when we are going through this decline, our body is going to be inflamed. So let me repeat that again. When we are going through this decline, our body is going to be inflamed, We do not have our girlfriend estrogen to come and protect us from all the inflammation. So that means that you have to pay very, very special attention to your diet, because whatever you eat will impact your body. So I know some of you, I ain't calling out the body, I'm not targeting you, but if the hat fits, you gotta wear it. So you know, Friday nights, you will go and get your little chicken and chips because it's Friday night. But know that that chicken and chips, I'm not saying that you can't eat these things, but just be mindful. Things like that are going to add fuel to the fire that is already burning within your body. So you have to be mindful of that. So why is it important for you to pay attention so that you would not get some of these things? So I am going to really be talking about the bone density and muscle mass. Bone density is very important. Why do you need to make sure that you have proper bones and your bones are not like butter? You don't want your bones being like butter. Because as we know, I don't know how many of you know. Yeah, good that you love baked chicken. Good. I'm talking about the fried, the fried chicken, the fried chips. There's some vendors that do barbecue chicken, which is fine, but this them got some carcinogens and all different things. That's a whole different story. But I'm talking about that sort of thing. But as I was saying, what you need to have bone density, and I'm going to answer a question, and I am going to yes. As I'm going to ask the question and see if you know about this statistic. Okay, here is the question. Typically, when an older person falls, if their bone density was not good, they will most likely break their hip. Do you know how long they live on average after a broken hip? And just give you all a couple of seconds to answer this question. And if you don't know, so drum roll, let me see. 6 months. Anybody else? 2 years. Anybody else? All right. The statistic is that they usually live up to a maximum of a year. So definitely not 4 years. Most people will die within a year. So it could be these ranges I'm seeing. 2 months, yes. 12 months, yep. 6 months. Most people will die within a year. So if that doesn't settle in with you, because that will put in your mind that you have to really take care of your bone density. You have to. It is not a if or buts, because I don't know about you. When I get to a certain age, I still want to be able to walk about and function well and do the things that I can do. And I don't want to be in the back of my head thinking I have to be extra careful, because if I fall, I will break my hip and I will not recover and I will die. This is the general thing. It doesn't happen with all people, but this is the general statistic that most older people, when they fall, break a hip, they will die. So that is why you need to be able to do things that will build your bone density. The other thing too, if you see some things people walking and the older people look as though that they're like the hunchback of Notre Dame. So let me turn. So this is how you usually are. If you have strong bones, structure, posture is good, and your muscles play a big role in that. But sometimes you will see older people like this, head is forward. I have seen older people, head literally down, cannot lift that head. So you're walking and your world is the floor. Going to the supermarket, walking, world is the floor, cannot lift the head because there is not enough strength in the muscles, because they have lost muscle mass, which I will go into now. or the bones are not strong enough. That is not I don't know, that's not a good quality of life in my opinion. And then we will go into why you need to have muscle on you. And then it will talk about some of the things that you can do. So what you need to have muscle on you. Number one, your muscle has in these little energy factories called mitochondria. That's where most of them live. So all of them packing like people in a ZR. That's where most of them live in the muscle. There are in other cells, but most of them are in muscle. They give you energy. But if you don't got enough muscle mass, that means that your energy is going to be tanking. So that's one of the reasons why some women in this stage will feel extremely fatigued if they don't have a certain amount of muscle mass on them. So that is one. Two, muscle will help to keep you upright, whole structure, so that you will not be just this jelly type thing. So muscle keeps you firm, structured. Muscle helps. Muscle also helps in terms of perimenopause weight gain. We are insulin insensitive a bit more. So muscle is your metabolic engine, if for lack of better words. So that is what is going to help you to burn a lot of the fat that you might be struggling with. But if you don't have enough muscle on you, then the weight gain is going to be there. And muscle is everywhere. Even in your pelvic floor muscles, there are muscles. So if you do not use them, you will suffer with things like urinary incontinence, prolapse, painful sex, might not want nobody touching you because everything just ain't functioning as it should. And muscle is that thing that will keep you looking snatched. So if you're building muscle, then what we really expect to do. So these are some things. And also muscle is going to be, or the process of building muscle will also help with some of the brain symptoms that you might experience, like brain fog. So this is a big pitch for what you should exercise and move your body. And unfortunately, let me bring it for you. Where I have it. Unfortunately, just walking is not going to cut it. Just doing aerobics is not going to cut it. That will not help you to build the muscle that you need. Muscle also helps with a lot of longevity as well. So if you don't want to be a frail old woman, then you gotta build muscle. And men that are on this call, please encourage your women to build muscle. So doing 20 of these with a Barbie weight is not going to build the muscle that you need. You need to lift heavy. And for the people in the back, for the final time, well, this is not going to be the final time, you will, why must muscle sit so long to appear? I will answer that question shortly. So for the people in the back that thinking that lifting heavy weights will make you look like a man, you ain't gonna look like a man. We just don't have that testosterone level, and because we're in perimenopause, our testosterone levels are dropping as well. So you definitely will not look like a man. You need to lift heavy because your muscle needs some sort of stimulus to actually be encouraged to grow. The thing is that when you lift weights, your body is going to be like, wait, she doing something strange here, boy. We got to recover so we will be able to handle this again. But if you're just doing this, especially if it might help a little bit if you're no start here and never did any exercise. But if you have exercised any point in time, this is not going to, I mentioned the connection between brain fog and muscle. It is the, not actually fully muscle, it is exercise that is going to stimulate different things in your brain. It is going to help with that. In terms of the detail, that is something that I will go into next week when we celebrate World menopause day, I will go into that a bit more, but exercise helps with the brain because some of these things are brain related activities, symptoms, but we will go into that a bit more next week. So that means you gotta join next week, right? So the thing is, I know that some of you, so I'm talking about the exercise. Exactly, women that live are sexy. let them know. Shafi, Sam, let them know. So the thing is, you spending, I don't have a problem with you doing your aerobic exercises because you still need, your heart still need some help. But I got other things that you could do to help your heart. But anyway, I will say that you have to lift heavy, something that is going to challenge you. And I know sometimes it might be intimidating for you to step into a gym. That is where you can find a group that will do online exercises like what I do to help you. And if you do not have gym equipment, let me show you something that you could use. This is my arsenal right here as well. I got a whole set of equipment at home, but that is from when I moved my studio, so I got equipment home. But you see these? These are what I used to use with my clients when I had a studio, and they were very effective. So these are looped resistance bands. If you want to find out more about them, you can always message me and find out where you can get them from. Furthermore, sign up to a class where you can learn how to use them. So we have the long resistance bands. Some of these equate, depending on the thickness, you can go up to probably about 50, 60 pounds. This one is extremely heavy. I don't really use this that much. I used to use this for band drives and my clients really hated it. But yeah. But these are things you can use. The banded workout that I would have done, we use a lot of these, building the glute muscles, and your glutes have most of the muscle density. So it's good to build your glutes, because the other thing as well, I don't know if you might notice, there are some, if you notice people, sometimes the ones that are a bit overweight, I look at people because it's my natural thing to look at structures, to look at how you're walking, movement, things like that. Some people have this, what we call gluteal atrophy, where sometimes it just looks like the buttocks is non-existent, it's smushed in flat like a pancake. That helps you in terms of how you walk as well. So if you do not have proper glute muscles, you're going to be shuffling. If you're shuffling, that means that you might trip up and you might fall. If you fall, then it might break a hip. So you got to lift. You have to lift. If there's one thing that you take from this call, you have to lift. Spending your lifetime on a treadmill, talking to your girlfriend, or watching the screen is not going to help. Treadmills are good if you're doing HIIT training, high intensity training, where you go hard and then you bring it back, go hard again. That is fine if you're using treadmill, bike, or anything like that. But if you just riding on the bike, like if you going for a ride in the country and then doing nothing else, that is not going to help. Walking is a must. Walking, you should do that every single day if you can. I personally, I ain't gonna lie, I don't walk every single day, but I walk on mornings. But it's not only for movement, but it's just a way to clear my mind as well. So those are the things that you will have to do. So in order for you to build muscle, you have to have the foundation. All right, Jesse. Cecilia says she has that green fellow. I have a love-hate relationship with him. Of course, we are going to have a love-hate relationship with exercising, but right now we are at the stage that is like prescription drugs that you have to do. Otherwise, I can look at these comments, so it all got me laughing. Otherwise, your transition is not going to be good, and we are laying the foundation for years to come. I still want to be gaining people fast and working up. I ain't sure about going and jumping on the road because the knee, she ain't handling it good. But as I was saying, you have to lay, once you're building muscle, you have to have the foundations for building that muscle. And that means that you have to increase your protein intake. I'm talking about clean sources of proteins. So I'm not talking about your hot dogs, hamburgers, unless you're making them on your own, which I do my homemade burgers. Not talking about luncheon meat, mystery meats, processed meats. Those are not good sources of protein. You have plant-based sources and you have animal-based sources. If you're going plant-based, know that you will have to supplement with certain things, and a lot of these things I cover in nutrition coaching. But you need to have protein and at least 90 grams of protein per day consistently, so that you can build this muscle mass that is going to help a lot of these symptoms, not only the musculoskeletal symptoms, but in terms of brain fog. Some of these things can help things like hot flashes. You need to make sure that you have, yes, it's necessary information. You need to make sure that you are eating protein. And please, macaroni pie is not protein. Okay? Some people might think so. Macaroni pie is not protein. Lettuce is not protein. Protein comes from things that have a face, that are not human. That ain't human. Let me put that out there. Not humans. Other things that naturally have a face, animal-based. Other things that are going to grow, that is your plant-based. But 90 grams of protein, it might seem like, 90 grams, that might be doable, might not be doable. But I will tell you that it is going to be a challenge to getting 90 grams of protein consistently. Right? And also, high good night twisted natural, and also an anti-inflammatory diet. Remember some of the things like the frozen shoulder that I spoke about, that can also be related to a lot of inflammation in your body. So you need to make sure that you're eating a whole unprocessed food diet. The things that we know from the time that we about soy, you gotta get your water, complex carbohydrates, protein, which I spoke about, good fats, your vegetables, especially green leafy vegetables. Those are the things that should be standard. So all of the other things and some other spices like turmeric and ginger also help. Are lentils and yes, they are. I didn't touch on exactly what are plant-based, but the twisted natural, yes, lentils and quinoa. And I would say some people might say that quinoa is expensive because I got a 3-pound bag from PriceSmart. It was $25. But before you say, well, God, that's expensive. If I worked that out to how many servings I could get, when I worked that out, that was probably about $2 the most per serving. And that was a quarter cup that they said a serving was. But if you're still saying, oh God, that's expensive, that is going to last longer. Some of us, we will spend $25 in a night to buy chicken and chips. But in your mind, you might not be thinking, oh, that's expensive. But that is going to last you one serving compared to something else where you could be using over and over again, and you can use that and replace rice because the protein content in that is a bit higher. So just to wrap up, because I gotta wrap up now. Remember that this is the musculoskeletal syndrome of perimenopause. It will happen because estrogen is declining. Estrogen is not declining in a uniform fashion like how her Cammon sister progesterone is declining. So that means that you might get things like frozen shoulder where this hand is not lifting up. You can't get your hand behind your back. You might suffer things from loss of bone density, loss of muscle mass, and overall inflammation. The things that you need to do to mitigate some of these issues, you need to lift weights and do not spend your entire life on cardio machines. If you cannot lift weights, you can also use your body weight to start out, because I can bet you, all of us, all 100% of us here cannot do 10 full push-ups. A push-up is a very taxing exercise. So you can lift your body weight in certain ways. Single leg is going to help. You can invest in bands. And if you don't know how to use bands and need guidance, I am the person to help you. And also anti-inflammatory diet. Increase your protein intake. Full stop. All right? So what I will do now is go into some comments, questions. This is your time. I do not know what the time is because, let me see. Yeah, we about to hit 7 o'clock. Usually try to go for, yeah, the 20 minutes. But it's more than 20 minutes, so 30 minutes, but this is it. All right. Why does muscle seem to take so long to appear? There are a couple of things with that. If you have a certain amount of body fat on you, you will not see it. Yes, muscle takes long, and the unfortunate thing, the more exercised you are, the harder it is going to take. So some people that now starting out exercise, their adaptation is going to be very quick and they're going to build muscle quick. So for somebody like me that was doing some sort of weight training from the age of about 14 or so, to build muscle is going to be very hard for me. And I will always have to be constantly challenging myself. And again, if you are not giving your body the enough fuel to recover, so that is the other thing. If you are eating less and you want to hitting heavy weights, that ain't gonna work. You still need fuel to get through a workout. So if it is that you are not eating enough, especially protein, your muscle is not going to develop. Furthermore, your body is going to be like, oh, she's not giving me the resources I need. Then let me pull this from the muscle, let me pull it from the bone, cause she doing foolishness. So that is one of the reasons it takes so long. And you have to be consistent. You cannot be just working out once per week or twice per week and expect changes. What you put in, you will get out. All right. Hope that answers your question. Let me go to another question quick. Right, Liz World, next week I will talk more about brain fog, so be there because it can be a little celebration. Yes, I already addressed Shafiq Stan, women that live are sexy. And please note that your partner can like you sexy, and you don't have to be cut up, but if you know, toned, because a lot of women say they want to be toned. In order to be toned, that means you need to got muscle on you. Right? All right. Your address, lift your body weight. This one, you feel the top rate, the flat boxy, but remember, I am also coaching you and reminding you that you got certain exercises will help, so you will get better. Shafiq Sam. Yes, I am Beijing Jen. Definitely the women that are going to the event next week, Saturday. If you did not get to register for that event, too bad, because it is fully subscribed. But I will be talking about this. Twisted Natural, yes, I answered your questions. I am Beijing Jen. I can't even do one good. You can start. There are ways to progress these things for you to get to the ground. But a lot of these things, I do teach you how to exercise properly, how to lift weights properly. I also do teach you how to eat properly. Some of the things that you already know that might seem like basics, I will tell you a lot of people struggle with implementing the basics. It's the implementation piece. And sometimes I gotta hold your hand a little bit and guide you, because that is what you need. All right. You need a quinoa tutorial. There. Have you looked at videos on YouTube, Pinterest, or just read the back of the label? Because that's what I do. Sometimes it might come. It is something that you have to get used to. I can be honest. I used it years ago. And the thing is, I did not like the flavor of it because it was so bland. And funny thing, my father back then, he used to order V8 juice, you know, the tomato juice that is like, ew. And I started to use that to cook the quinoa to give it flavor. And actually did taste good, but I haven't done it. Yeah, we need a Bajan Caribbean version. I can work on that. Just like everybody would do, pelting the spices. And try a thing. I will say, man, I recently started back using it. The first time I cook it, I burn it a little bit at the bottom. But I was still able to get proper one that was still cooked and did not have that burnt taste, but we could call it the blackened barbecue taste, right? But it's gonna be a trial and error. But in back of my mind, like, this thing here expensive, so I can't try this way. So I figured out how to use it. I cooked it yesterday, but I did not feel to go through all of the flavoring and stuff like that. But you could just use it like how you would cook and flavor rice. Just use the same spices, pelting things. Look, we got Tiny Whiny is telling you what to do. Cook and add stir-fry vegetables to the start. Yeah, you can add it to different things. You can add it to salad. You can add it to black beans. You can add just like rice. It will be just like rice and peas, but it's quinoa and peas because it does not have a strong. It's kind of bland. It's like a blank canvas. So pelting your spices. I will tell you if you are there. There's a world of spices for those of you who do not know. So there are things beyond the bouillon cubes. I don't use those. There are a world of spices. So when you go into the spice aisle in some of these supermarkets, you got different spices. You could do curry quinoa. That is Caribbean. If you feel like I think some people do quinoa cakes. You could even put in a little bit of green seasoning if you want to get that different Caribbean flavor. There are different ways. I think it would taste good with oxtail. What I usually do, I use it with stewed chicken. Pour that gravy on it, and you're good to go. But anyhow, it is time for me to go because I was on here a long time. So we are going to play an outro song. And remember, if you do need help with anything, you are free to slide into my DMs because sometimes we do need that help. It's workout time. No formal line. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Whoa. I am your gym instructor, well, a women's wellness coach, and I am going to help you to navigate this perimenopause stage, prepare for it, because we can be popped down going into our older ages. Put your hands on your head, pin the air, and you shuffle it. All right, everybody, have a good night. Next week, please join me on the 18th of October, which is World Menopause Day. I will be addressing different questions that I would have received over the couple of weeks. So if you have a particular question that you need me to address, please drop it, send me a message, invite all of your friends, men too, invite your male friends as well, because we gotta bring back this spice. We ain't going through menopause or perimenopause, like, yeah, it will happen, so we have to be prepared for it to happen. All right, so have a good night. See you next week. We party next week. Bye.